Welcome to Crosstalk. The world today is witnessing conflict on every level, not just between nations, but within communities and even inside our homes. But while many peace campaigns focus on political or ethnic divisions, the truth is the real battlefield often begins in the family. Broken relationships and resentment, domestic violence between generations, these silently breed anger, bitterness, and hopelessness in the hearts of young people. And yet, this same generation, the youth, hold incredible power to restore peace and humanity within families and beyond. They are the digital natives, influencers, creatives, and dreamers, capable of redefining what peace looks like in today's world, if only they are equipped and inspired. And that's exactly what we are talking about today, the role of youth in promoting peace and humanity in the family. You might be wondering, why youth? Why peace? Why family? Well, stay tuned because my guests today are passionate peace advocates and they are organizing a powerful event, the Family Peace Campus Symposium, themed What Tomorrow Holds for Your Family. So stay with me on Crosstalk because this conversation could just change the way you see peace and the role you play in it. You can be part of this conversation by sending your feedback or comments to 20316, which is our SMS line. Our WhatsApp line is 0786316316. Let me introduce my guest because as I introduce them, then you will realize why they are part of this great conversation today. I'm joined by James Mekenye, who is the Director of Programs at Family Peace Association, Kenya. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
You feel like we need peace?
We really need peace. Yes.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on Crosstalk.
We are humbled to be here.
Asante.
Yes.
Also with me on set is the advocate of the Kenya High Court. He's a lawyer, he's a mediator, Muga Apondi. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
And thank you for inviting me to your studios.
You are most welcome.
Yeah.
Why is peace so elusive in this country? No, let me just start from there. Sometimes it feels like it's very elusive.
There are many factors which affect peace. And you cannot put one factor alone to describe and to summarize why we do not have peace. But wherever there is conflict in the world, and if you zero down to Kenya, it's a question of resources. People are fighting for resources. And if I may give examples, people fight because of accessibility to water. People fight because of accessibility to food. People fight because of accessibility to opportunities within society where they can be able to enhance their living standards. And if they feel that they are not being given a fair chance, then there will always be tension and it goes a step higher, and that's why there's conflict.
Right.
And that's why sometimes you find in semi-arid areas that people are fighting, and maybe it is just because of water. Sometimes they fight because of cattle. So it's a question of resources. How are the resources distributed within society? How are opportunities being given within any particular society?
All right.
That would be my take.
That's a good launch pad. So we'll be coming back to you as well. But let me also introduce my panel that is joining me in studio. I have Pastor Felista Kamau. He's a family pastor at Parklands Baptist Church. Welcome, Pastor.
Thank you, sir.
Happy to see you.
Good to see you too.
Joining us as well is Richard Bundi. He's a youth pastor at Mamlaka Hill Chapel. He will be also engaging with us on how they reach out to young people. Welcome, Pastor.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Happy to see you.
Happy to see you
The
too.
last time it was about commission.
Yes.
Go ye.
Yes.
Now go ye for peace.
Yes.
Asante sana. With us also is a team from Family Peace Association. And as we go towards this conversation, they'll be introducing themselves as we interact. So let's start the conversation. Let me just start with some of the misconceptions that comes when we talk about peace. When somebody says that peace is the absence of war, then it means we can't talk about peace or advocate for peace when the country or our families doesn't experience any conflict or war. Is that the correct position, that peace is the absence of war, or that is a misconception?
It depends which type of war. We have physical war and we have the internal war. Let me give you, for example, when you are hungry, you have not taken, and you are not fasting. No breakfast, no lunch, no supper for 3 days consecutive. Will you be in peace? You won't be in peace because there is something struggling you. Now, for example, if somebody tells you now, remove your clothes, go to that highway naked, you won't have peace in your mind. So when we talk about peace, it's not necessarily that it is a physical war that we might experience like what is happening in Tanzania. It is something within us that is creating some conflict among ourselves. And that's why it's important when we talk about peace, especially the peace actors, don't look at just physical war. So many people are going through internal conflicts which does not maybe reveal out. But when you assume that we must we must do that so that you understand there is lack of peace, then for me, no.
All right.
Yeah.
Wakili, there's also the aspect of peace means keeping quiet or avoiding conflict.
Keeping quiet does not necessarily mean peace, because maybe somebody is burning inside, and it is very dangerous in the sense that when it comes out now, it comes out in such a manner that it cannot be controlled. That's why for you to have a harmony in society, you must make sure that everybody is entitled to certain basic things. And once all those things are in place, then it is easier in the long run to maintain what I would call genuine peace. But you cannot have a situation where your neighbor is always having so much that he cannot even take, whereas here I have not even had a meal for 3 days. It is not possible. Yeah, it will reach a stage where I will even go to the extent now of trying to get what my neighbor is having. So it is important to have what I call equity and fairness in society.
And you think that is what is lacking now, that will make us have a discussion around peace?
Yeah, I think in terms of distribution of wealth in this country, we really have to have a deeper conversation and see how we can be able to help each other.
All right.
Yes.
Let me bring in Pastor Felista here, because it said that peace is automatic when people are religious or moral. So as a religious country, we are peaceful. Is that a misconception?
That's a really, really huge misconception, because peace must be intentional. We must be intentionally working to make sure that we are creating the atmosphere or the environment of peace. This begins with the core values that the family is having, the community is having, the nation is having. So if we have the same core values and we are all striving towards the same thing, then we can have peace. But if we don't have the same core values, we are not in agreement. Like our brother said, if the neighbor who has enough and even surplus is not having the same core value with the one who is having lack, so that they can having compassion and empathy and look at the neighbor's situation and share, then they cannot have peace. So there must be conversations around this.
All right.
Yes.
Peter, let me come to you. Peace is a sign of weakness. You know, most of the times we are in a conflict. When you choose peace, then you are a weaker being. Is that a misconception, or that's the definition of peace?
Well, not really. Peace is not a sign of weakness, because for there to be peace, there has to be fairness. You don't get a fair game when you are silent. Something has to happen. So you cannot say that because there was conflict and you pull out, now you are peaceful. As been mentioned earlier, you might be burning from inside. And you'll only bring out whatever is burning to seek that justice or fairness that was lacking. So peace is not a sign of weakness. It needs to be, whatever is the conflict needs to be confronted and solved so that now the water can calm down and there is peace.
All right.
Yes.
I'm coming back to Bondi, then I'll come to Mololo. But I want to bring an aspect of, when we talk about peace, what exactly is a culture of peace? As a nation or from a family front, what would you say this is a culture of peace? Then if we do this, then we are expressing peace.
When you want to express peace, first of all, you look at the values that are missing in the family. Remember, peace starts from an individual person, then you take it to the family, then the community. So when you look at those values that are missing, for example, when we talk about respect, if there is no respect within the family, then there is no peace. If the true love that you need within your family is not there, then meaning that there is chaos all through in the family. So peace starts from somewhere, and when it's lacking, then it means that we are not doing it right. That's why as an organization, we are trying to reach out to the families so that the lost values that we abandoned, when we bring them back, we restore them back to the family, then we are not going to have issue with peace.
Okay.
It will be automatic. And that's most important thing that each and every individual, every family, every community should look at. The values that we lost.
Okay. And we'll be speaking to these specific values. So then how then do we regain them? When you talk about the values that we lost, what are these values that your organization is focusing on?
There are universal values and the principles that each and every individual person is looking at. My brother Mololo is good in that. He can really help the society, the community, to regain those values. For example, the true love that I've spoken about. You are in the family, and this is a mother and of husband and wife. When you met the day one, it was real love. As days goes by, you find that the gap keeps expanding. Where is that love? Number two, for example, when you start the family, what is at the center of your family? That's what we look at as organization. What is it at the center of each and every family in Kenya? Some people, when they talk about resources, as Wakili said, they said, if we have resources, then we are in peace. But when those resources ends, then chaos starts. But there is something which is important. If you have it at the center, that's God. Because even Muslims believe that there is God in heaven. The Hindu, they believe there is God in heaven. So when we have that God at the center of the families, then the whole world will be in peace.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Wakili, most of the times when you talk about peace, we don't look at it from the unit of family. Many a times it's a national outlook of manifestation of our countries, and as you've mentioned, also resources. So we look at it from a global perspective, not necessarily from a family point. When you talk about mediation and being in that practice, do you see most families come to mediate conflict, or it's more in terms of nation to nation?
You see, when there is conflict at an international level, there must be a source or basis on how that conflict started. But as my brother here said, it is very important because a family is the smallest unit that we have. If we encourage people to stay properly within their families, people to love each other, people to be fair to each other, people to be impartial to each other, whatever little that we have, we should be able to share in an equitable manner. And that's why at a family level, you find that there are a lot of conflicts. Like, for instance, if one of the parents passes away, and then now there's a conflict. Reason? Because the children, every child is fighting for the properties which were left. The same conflicts that you're having at a family's level sometimes tend to be escalated now at the national level in terms of the resources. When you come to countries also, sometimes they also fight because of the resources. We know that for sure, that there are countries which have been blessed in terms of resources like oil. But it is also a known fact that these countries have never benefited from the minerals because of conflict. So basically, what I'm saying, when there is a human conflict, most of the times, I'm not saying all the time, the fight is normally equitable distribution of resources. That is more or less is the center thing. If you come to the family level, it's more or less the same. So it is important that we encourage families to be strong families, to be God-fearing, and to live in a peaceful and harmonious manner. And in the event that there is a conflict, you do not necessarily have to go to court. Yeah, because the courts right now, the number of magistrates are many, the number of judges are many, but they are not able to resolve all those disputes. And that's why the Kenya Constitution 2010 clearly stated at Article 159 that the courts should be able to promote what you call ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution Mechanism. If you go to the Civil Procedure Code, it also encourages parties to go for alternative dispute resolution. If you go to the Family Law Act, it also encourages families, couples who have had issues, whatever, to also pursue that line. And these are not things which are new. They were there even in our communities. Before the colonial government came into place, Africans were able to resolve their problems. They would sit under a tree, and there would be some elders who are respected, and they will be given a chance to resolve some of these issues. So we should not always be looking for solutions from outside. We should also look at what resources we have on the ground, and we should be able to live peacefully without necessarily having to invoke the law.
All right.
Yes.
All right. I'll come back to that. But let me get to my friend Richard. Pastor, it is said that only government or leaders can bring peace. We can talk as much as we want, but the only people that can bring peace is government or leaders in power. Is that a misconception, or it starts from a family unit, as has been mentioned?
I actually like your phrasing of of statements, including the one you gave my brother earlier.
Yes.
Is peace a sign of weakness?
Yes.
I think as a Christian, I would say it's a sign of meekness. Just a sense of humility that we can come to common ground. But to the question you've asked, I don't think government is the only body that can bring peace, and also not to absent it, because governments exist to organize society and to bring the people around, to have a sense of commonality. If everyone is a leader, then no one is a leader. There's a sense in which we submit to this authority and say, you have our best interest at heart. Problem comes in when there's a form of distrust and mistrust, and we can't tend to believe that what the government is doing is for the benefit of society. So I believe it's a multifaceted approach. There is government, there is family, and basically family is the substructure of any major unit that we see. Church is built on the substructure of family, government as well, society. if you don't deal with the root cause in our families around the dinner table, then even if you bring in the United Nations to bring in governments around, no solution will ultimately be found if the policy hasn't been ingrained into the family unit. So I do lead the youth ministry in my church, and I can tell that the anger is not really against the government. It's the equitable distribution of resources, opportunities to get jobs once they graduate. There's a whole thing going around, and it's not really anger towards the government. It's them saying it's trickling down and it's affecting our family unit. We can't find peace outside and within. So I think it is a multifaceted approach, not just us looking squarely at the government to give us solutions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Joshua, last year Gen Zs were on the streets. Was this as a form of what we are not dealing with within our family units, or it was just what Wakilia said? Sometimes it's internal, and when it allowed to burst, then it reflects to what we saw on the streets. You are a young person. What makes you go on the streets?
Thank you. I was not on the street.
Okay. So there's a value that you uphold. Okay.
So, as my elders have said, it starts from internal, then it starts from the heart, then the mind, then the will to do it. But if you understand what internal maturity starts, then you don't get physical. You think before you act. So I'll say that problems comes from our own mindset, but it starts from the family. The family is the root. If the family is broken, then the society is broken. Then the nation, then the outside world. But we fix first the family, then individuals, then
All right. Pastor Felista, before I give it to Mwololo, would you say that are you seeing or witnessing brokenness in families?
Yes, we are witnessing the breaking of families. And when we speak about broken families, the conversation out there is the families that have undergone divorce and separation. But for me, my focus is the families that are still together, couples that are still together, but they are dysfunctional. They are experiencing anger, violence, lack of communication, lack of discussing the resources the family has, lack of planning, not having one vision. And the children that are growing up in this environment, observing it and the emotions and that they are experiencing. So what happens is that when these children leave the home, the first thing is that they have a sense of justice. They want to correct everything that is going wrong out there where they can have a voice. So this will be seen in the school, where they will have a problem with parental figures or authority. So they'll have a problem with teachers, they'll have a problem with rules, a problem with laws. It will be seen in the university, it will be seen on the streets. So if families can accept to have this conversation in the home, step out of the dysfunction that are happening, and I hope we can have time to speak about that in the conversation, and correct this, I think there will be a shift in the mindsets of the young people, how they view government, how they view even church leadership. Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll come to that. Mr. Mwololo, working with Family Peace Association, what are some of the things that you've seen as the gaps that were being mentioned by James here?
Thank you very much. Family Peace Association is actually advocating peace through the families. And when we talk of families, we are talking about the family of a husband and wife, father and a mother, parents and children. When we talk about such a family, it means their relationships are harmonious, loving relationships. They should be guided by certain family values. And the greatest value should be true love. That's why we talk about God-centered families, because who is the origin of love should be God. And therefore, when we talk of God-centered, it doesn't mean that we become more of a church, more of a religion. No. We must know that the origin of peace, the origin of love, is God. So we are talking about God-centered families that should now drive the agenda towards peace, because we cannot have peace if we don't have love. Now, in the family, basically, somebody said, peace begins with me. But I want to a bit analyze that me as that is an individual. As an individual, we are not just physical beings. We are also spiritual beings. And when we talk of spiritual beings, just like our mind guides the body and the body follows, our spirit self should guide our physical self. Our physical body is after food, clothing, shelter, and sex. But our spirit is after love, truth, beauty, and goodness. These are the spiritual values that should guide our material life. When we are anchored in those spiritual values, then the physical body will be no problem. We can be able to control ourselves and even control our environment. But the major problem is that our physical body grows more than our spiritual self. And therefore, we become completely weak, that we cannot be able to control anything. Even thieves, when you ask them, is what you are doing correct? They will tell you no, but I just find my body doing that. You find a doctor, he knows smoking is bad. It destroys your lungs. But he tells you, I cannot stop smoking. Why? He has all the knowledge, everything, but he doesn't have the willpower from within, the spiritual energy to be able to say no. Or somebody becomes a drunkard and he cannot do without drinking. Where is the problem? The problem is the spiritual aspect of this particular person is weak. Therefore, what we need more is to actually activate, as our brother James said, to enlighten our spiritual awareness, such that we can know what to do. Even if you found people drinking, you wouldn't drink because they are drinking. You can say no. If you found people doing something and it is not appealing to your conscience, you would say no.
Okay.
Why? Because you have values guiding you within yourself as an individual. But there are also values that are in the family. But I think we can talk about that.
Yes, we will talk about that. And I think there's, yes, as you come in.
The attention of all of us here is that, and I think all of us are aware of this, is that the rate of divorce right now is very high. And you see, in the past, most of the divorces would happen when people have stayed over a long period of time. Mm-hmm. But the current situation is rather disturbing, in the sense that you find very young couples rushing to court to get divorce. And if you look at the background of these young couples, you will find that they are people who have known each other for a very short period of time. Somebody goes to a social place, to a wedding or a funeral or any other of these events, he meets a beautiful girl. After 3 months, 6 months, they're already married. But you see, in the past, it took a long time before somebody got engaged into some of these things. So you find that the marriages are rushed, and they come to realize that they are not compatible with each other. But if we had a long period of maybe courtship, before somebody gets married, then it will be easier for the couple to know each other and to commit themselves. So I think on my side, I would say that I think the church has a lot of work to do. The other religions have a lot of work to do, and even the state has a lot of work to do to try and bring harmony in some of these families, so that before people decide to get married, that is their choice. But can they make the right choice by having proper preparation before they get married?
All right. I'll come to that and the aspect
There is
of
something
church.
we wanted to add somewhere.
Yes,
before
we
church.
shall. Yes, we
Before
shall.
church.
I'm just making them start to think about it.
Yes.
That there's an aspect of church that is coming out very strongly.
Yes.
That the two pastors will need to speak to.
Yes.
And there's also the aspect of what the young people say.
Yes.
If you court for 6 years, kwa
Yes.
nini degree mnasomea? So they make sure it's a microwave kind of courtship. Within 2 weeks,
They are married.
Yes. But are youth or young people in our society today victims of broken families?
Now, yes, they are victims.
Yes,
Why?
add what you want, then answer that.
Just connect the
Yes,
two.
yes.
Nowadays, young people are highly preparing for the wedding day than the marriage itself. So they can spend $1 million for one day to just do a very big wedding with the very nice vehicles, all those convoys. Now that evening, they'll go to Diani Beach. They'll go to White Sand Hotel. They go to Zanzibar for a honeymoon. When they come back to Kenya, they are not compatible. Then this problem starts. As organization, we are preparing young people for marriage. And that's why we invited Mr. Peter Njoroge through Zetech University. Because before they engage, can they engage? There is that, what you normally use to do the constructions, that gauge the level. Before you engage that gentleman, that lady, have you gauged this person? That's the challenge we are having in Kenya. So, as Mololo said, our youths are looking at the physical appearance of an individual. For 3 weeks, this is the perfect person for me. Of course, yes, there are some that works. And we cannot dismiss that. But majority, they look at physical. And then look at the qualities of some of the people they want, the young persons. This is the type of person I want. Why did I say the church need to do something? As Pastor Felista was saying, I also am a minister in the church. When I look at some of the marriages in the church, they will just use the same car, kutufunga macho, that we are together. But in the real sense, they are not together. Why? They left the road long time, long time. And this is what's affecting the churches. To date, Wakili is here. Most of the divorce cases in courts are for Christians.
Yeah, that is true.
Sindio Wakili?
That's true. I
We
totally agree.
Christians are the ones rushing to court for divorce. We are rushing to courts for the resources that our parents left behind. But what about other religions? They know how to embrace each other. Wakili, how many cases have you dealt with?
Very many.
Very many. And for Christians. And on Sunday, we are in church. We are the elders in the church. We are the youth leader. We are youth pastor. You are so and so. But outside the church, you are somebody else.
May God help us. Pastor, I'll come back. Let's just hear from Peter first. Pastor, before you pick it, I know you are burning. Yeah, Peter, you work with young people. You train them. What is the gap? Because most of the times, there's levels of frustration as we've spoken to. This is a big chunk of our population. Almost 75% of our population is of young people. And when you talk about of unemployment, as we've spoken about, easy, quick of access to money and fame is what young people are going for. And what you are explaining is a reflection also within our society. The kind of leaders that we put in place is mostly based on their physical appearance. So if I can dish out money, I can come with bling-blings and some things to appeal to the majority, which are young people, then they literally go for that. So where is the gap? Is it the church? Is it the government in terms of employing or creating a conducive environment to absorb these people that come from the campuses? Or is it level of training that they get from our institutions?
Allow me to start by saying the church and everybody else who I can call now the adult population, live around the youth, must speak in one language, that marriage works. You know, why we're having all these issues is because we've already even ourselves popularized the slogan that marriage is difficult. When you listen to Gen Zs, they were saying they only fear getting married and their phones
dying out of bed.
Yeah, dying out of bed. What we are saying is these are children who have been brought up seeing a single mother struggle and wondering how ruthless was this man who fathered me and left my mother to suffer like this. Likewise, how cruel was this woman who mothered me and left my father to struggle like this. These are children who have seen their parents struggle with loans, their parents struggle from one job to another, their parents even get collapsed to give them food. These are children who have even seen their mothers and fathers bribe so that they can go to good schools, so that they can get a job. You saw them fighting last year and saying, X got a job because he's connected. But Y, who is my friend and we schooled together and we took all our problems together, did not get a job, yet he is my friend because he's not connected. Those are the injustices these people are coming to fight for. You know, they are seeing broken promises. Then they come and realize when they come out, it's like everything was a Pharisee. Oh, study so hard to go to university, but those people who go to good universities are those with money. Where is this money? It is gotten out of corruption. It is gotten out of, you know, when you now bring out that is the inner peace we are talking about. These people look peaceful. But when those people get a trigger to release the burning, it comes in ways you did not even expect. So the gap started in our dinner table. The gap started when I was driving my children to school and their friends were walking in the lane and I cannot give them lift. That is when the gap started. And these children have grown seeing a lot of inequalities and unfairness and unfair distribution of resources, as Wakili has said, in the society. That is why they are fighting the government, because the government is the holder of the resources. The government has power to distribute resources. A politician starts and says, I'll build this road, I'll do this, I'll do that. When he goes there, he changes. That is what they are fighting. So the gap is there. It is upon us, institutions of goodwill, institutions that are well structured, to change the narrative. Talk to these people. Let them see the way I relate with my wife in my house. My children should learn from that. Not the way we pretend. Not the way we drive our car and go for shopping and all that. The way the teacher behaves in class. He should be a father, he should be a mother. He should show how a husband who comes from a functional family behaves as a teacher in class. A mother who is teaching and she's a good mother and a good wife. The way it happens. Why they are marrying for 2 weeks and breaking? It is because we have shown them so. There are so many women who are not married, who have succeeded in life. So what is this thing about being tied to a husband who is not even helping you? These people have been brought up by single mothers. They have been brought by single fathers. Others have even been brought up by their grandparents. Others have even been brought up by people who are not even their relatives. They have made it in life. So what is this thing about family? That question we must answer. Thank you.
Pastor Felista, answer that question.
Yeah, and I think, like he said, that we must present the true picture about marriage. And the true picture is that marriage is a work, but marriage works. If they think that it's an institution they can enter into easily without understanding this type of dynamics, then they will be disappointed because they will have expectations that cannot be met. But I also I would like to just challenge the young people that regardless of the family type that they came from, that they can be in a space where they can make a personal, intentional decision concerning their own family they want to start. And the reason is some of the practices that are going on right now in even the universities, institutions of higher learning, in terms of relationships with the opposite sex, as early even as not just the colleges, but even in high school, there are some decisions that are being made concerning how they view themselves, the young people, their body. It's not a strange thing to hear them talking about their virginity with the intention of breaking it, not looking at it as something they need to preserve. And preparation for marriage begins from childhood. That a child will admire the parents, will admire the aunties' families, the uncles' family, will admire how the grandparents are relating, will come to church and see the wedding, will admire that and will desire that in their hearts. So the preparation starts there. What values are we don't have a problem protecting our girls. We don't want pregnancy. We don't want teenage pregnancy, but what are we doing with the young men? So we are not concerned about I'm not concerned how my boy is relating to the girls in the neighborhood, in the school. I'm not protecting him. In fact, we are proud that he is actually he's actually making moves. He is known for these wrong things. But we are so intentional with the girl. We are protecting, but you see, we are also protecting our family image. We don't want shame. So we work with these young people. They go to college. We are not supervising them. They can bring anyone home. We are not having these conversations. So by the time they're coming to church, maybe if the church is not having conversations on dating, on relationship, so what we have begun to see is that most people will come for the premarital counseling classes. What is their motive for coming for these classes? They are coming because they need the paper, the certificate, to present it to the pastor so that they can be wedded. Their first day of showing up, they are not showing up. We really want to learn so that we can build a better marriage, so that our marriage will not reflect our parents' marriage. But they are like, if we could give them the certificate day one, they would actually leave. What is the purpose of premarital classes? The purpose of premarital classes is not just to equip the young people for their marriage, is to help them in the selection process. And we allow them any time in the program, if you need to leave, speak to us. If you see a dysfunction, if you see you don't have the same values, talk to us. And as pastors, we need to also be intentional. If a young person in our church is dating someone and we can see the red flags, we should not allow that to continue. We need to call them. We need to say, we are concerned about this. We need you to check this. Many parents are giving permission, I don't know if it's permission or blessing, to young people to wed a stranger, someone they don't know. They are meeting the families a week or two before the wedding for the negotiations. So long as the negotiations are done and dowry is paid, money is in the bank, we are happy. But have we even met the family? Do we have the same values? Okay. And the challenge I want to see that in the church, Honorable Wakili, by the time they are coming to us, they have the divorce papers. They are not feeling comfortable because of the big wedding they did, because of all that happened. Sometimes because of the counsel they did not take to come to us and say we are struggling, because all the other couples look like they are doing well. How can I be the one struggling? When my friend who got married the same time with me is exiling, they don't know the other couple is also struggling. So by the time they come to us, they already have. In the past, what happened is that the pastor would be aware of your marital struggles. The pastor would walk with you for a few years, trying to help the situation. And then when they've done everything, the family also. So sometimes you will say, have you talked to your family? Does your family know this is happening? They'll say, no, we don't talk to our family. We don't go home. We are a nuclear family. They have cut off all the people who could help them. So when they come now with the papers, we don't have a choice, but just to support them now.
All right. But most of the times, even the cutoff is as a conflict, internal conflict that will shield you around those that should provide support.
It is very true.
Maybe let me hear from Pastor Richard, because now if we have, I feel like we are back in toward when 2020 COVID time. We have a lot of masks within our families. Mr. Bundi, can the same family then be a point of healing? If it is already dysfunctional, where can they get this higher power to then start to heal?
That's a really pointed question. I think you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. The same place that gives you heart, I think, is the same place you need to go back to. I'm thinking of people who say, I'm leaving church because of the pain I'm feeling. And yet, that is the only place that they could find the solution they're looking for. So the solution is never to leave, it's to seek the most objective way through which you can get the help. So I still believe family is the substructure and the unit where the young person and even the old person, I think nowadays I've seen a lot of focus towards the Gen Zs and all that.
It's like there's a generational war.
There's a generational war, and yet we all need each other. We are all symbiotic. There's a Venn diagram happening here. Not that Gen Zs are the ones meant to dictate the direction of our country, but we all need to leave the stands and get into the arena and fight together on the same side. We are on the same side. So I think we need to still value family, redefine it, and go back to how God defined it. And I think in Genesis 1, 2, and 3, we can see that the structure was always Adam and Eve. Even before the babies came, that was a complete family. And as God will bless them with kids, we can see the dysfunction that began to happen there and how they were tearing apart. But even with the flood, God comes back to this this substructure, and he keeps on going back to this structure to build up his world. And at the end of time, tongues, races, all brought in to still be a family. So I still believe that we can find solutions in our family. We need to stop lowering our standards. For example, we've been talking about this with some of my youth pastors, that nowadays parents are happy that their children are not attracted to the same sex, whether they are playing around or not and fornicating. At times that is not the issue in their mind. They are happy. At least it's a girl. At least you've not brought home a boy. And so our standards of morality are also going down. We have absconded the authority of the scriptures. We are not reading from the same page. So I will still tell my youth every single time, go home, talk to your family, talk to your siblings, talk to your parents, and don't pattern as your family as to the ills that you saw. Start afresh. Bring in a new narrative. Don't always have this victim mentality that, this has always happened to me, I'm the worst person. I think that's a defeatist kind of mentality. You start afresh and you create a new narrative for the future generations. So I will still point back to family is the place that we will get our solution still.
Now, that future generation is talking about the pastor. This is a broken marriage. The father has gone his way, the mother has gone, and the children are there. What I may advise maybe such a family is, let's try to help these children so that the generational curse should not follow them. As the Bible says, your forefathers sinned, now you bear their punishment. In order to avoid that now this is a young girl, she's going to get married in 10 years, then she's also separating, and the children like that. That causes those, how do I call it, those habits. Actually, we should be able to stop them as the church. We should help them. Even if it's a single mother now, the years have gone now, this is somebody 45 years, she can't get married. Focus on the children. Because for her, she has few years to stay. But the children have many years to stay, in the manner that we have to look at the children so that they don't follow what their parents went through. They don't also go through that.
All right.
Let me give one liner. We were in Germany in July and August. It's a place that's post-modern and post-Christian. The systems are working. Everything is working. But you can tell there's a sense of war here because the family structure is really dysfunctional. And so even in the presence of everything we are looking for, employment, money, we can get that. But if the substructure itself is not working, which is really the case in the West, then they're not really moving forward. There's this facade that they are putting forth, and that's what I think Kenya might be in 20 or 30 years to come if we don't deal with the unit. I just thought I'd mention that.
Okay. Mololo wants to say something. You can just pass the mic, then I come back.
And then maybe
Thank you very much. It's good that the pastors have mentioned about the Bible, and I want to start from there as a family. As I said, when we talk of a family, let's go back to the original vision of the Creator, God. Because God created with a particular purpose, and we cannot go away from that purpose. The moment we deviate from that particular purpose, then we are doomed. Now, in Genesis 1:27 says, God created a man and a woman. That he created men in his own image, a male and a female, he created them. So the image of God is not one man alone. The image of God is not one woman alone. The image of God is the complete image of God is one man and one woman when they enter into marriage relationship. That is the complete image of God. So when you are saying that I want to divorce or I want to separate, in a way you are saying I want to destroy God's image in our marriage, in our family. That is what you are exactly saying. And we should know why we are going for marriage. Genesis 1:28, after they were created in God's image, God gave them the mandate, the three great blessings: be fruitful, multiply, and have dominion. This is for everybody. It is not just for Christians or Jews or Muslim, Jews and Christians. It is for everybody. That was God's direction from the beginning. Normally, I hear the saying, let's see where the rain started beating us. So we need to understand from there that there was, from the beginning, God had a design of the kind of family he wanted. Not just that the family was designed by some professors or some scholars came into a meeting, a conference, and they said, this is the way family should be. No, that is not the point. It was designed by God himself. Now in the family, we are supposed to grow. And the most important thing, the growth, is actually about love. You are born as a son or a daughter. When you are born as a son, you have your journey to grow as a son, to become a brother, to become a husband, and to become a father. As a daughter, you grow as a daughter to your parents. You grow to become a sister to your brothers and sisters. You grow to become a wife to your husband and also a mother. So each one of us has their particular path to follow. In that particular path to follow, you have to grow to understand sons' love towards your parents, brothers' love towards your brothers and sisters, husbands' love towards your wife, and father's love towards your children. And the same with the daughter. So each one of us has a path to follow so that we can be able to come to embody that love of God in the family. Okay. And when we are going into the marriage, we need that preparation such that the foundation of that particular marriage should be true love. Mm-hmm. And we should understand why we need to enter into that marriage relationship. Okay. But if we just go because I feel I'm mature, I'm attracted to the opposite sex, and we don't have a particular purpose guiding
then
me,
dysfunctionality begins there.
Yeah, then that becomes a big problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, Wakil, you want
Now,
to...
I would want to support fully what Mr. Molola said. And not only that, maybe just to refresh our minds, the Kenyan law is very clear. Mm-hmm. It defines marriage as a relationship between a man and a woman, period. There are no two ways about it. Not only that, I'm also very happy with the archbishops in Africa. They have always stood firm that whatever happens in the international scene, they would always subscribe to the doctrine that a marriage is between a man and a woman. Now, lastly, if you may allow me, the other thing that I would want to just to provoke discussion on is that we all know that the population of the youth in Kenya is about 70%. Not only that, we also know that the school holidays are very long. And it is during these school holidays that many things happen. As a society, can we interrogate that space? How can it be used positively? So that the youth, especially the ones from colleges, and there are many, the university students are many, the secondary school students are many, primary school students are many. How do we keep them busy during the school holidays? Personally, I don't have any solution, but I think it is high time we sat down and as a society, we think on how we can be able to help and mold these young people to become better citizens for this country. Okay. That is my take.
All right. Yeah. It reminds me of, I think it was just 2007 or 2002 thereabout. Yes. I think 2003 yes. After Kibaki came into government, there was the Kenya We Want conference at KICC that did put a roadmap of a 2030 vision, which is just 5 years shy. So I think it's high time now we do a Kenya We Want, but for young people. Yes. What do we really want with our generation of young people? Yes. Is this why Family Peace Symposium?
Yes. That's why we are coming up with the Family Peace Symposium at Zetech University.
Yes.
If we won't do that, then we won't have a generation.
Yeah. But now I feel like we need to talk more to the parents than even the youth.
Now, yes, we are also reaching out to parents. In our daily activities, we are reaching out to the community, the parents, mashinani. But now, as Wakili said, and as we all understand, where are the majority? Yeah. They are in universities. In the same universities they are, I think Peter from Zetech will confirm, they are actually training them on how to make a living, how to be a good accountant, how to be a good engineer, how to be a good mechanics. But they feel that after this person has become a good accountant, they have a life to live. Yeah. Do they train them on how to live? That's the gap that is now there. That's now where family peace association is coming in. Now they are prepared on how to make a living. Okay. Now, let's show them how to live. As they start year one in the campus, as you start your careers, remember there is a life to live. This is where the organization is coming in to help them understand. And that's why I said, before you engage this lady, gauge. You see, you gauge so that you know what type of person is this. Through this symposium, we are going to come up with a club which has never been there, called Campus Family Club, whereby they come in the first year, they are being prepared to have families in the near future. They meet once or twice in a month to discuss about what type of family do you want to have. When this is a gentleman who has just joined Kenyatta University, very new from Pokot. Now he's here in Nairobi. He's meeting a very beautiful lady from Nyeri. Now, how are they going to sit down and discuss about families? Where? Because after class, everybody is running to his or her own places. But if we have a corner whereby they'll be discussing about families, then we have strong leaders who are driving them. Remember, there are also CU clubs, Christian unions.
Yes.
They are there. Joroke, they are there, isn't it? Every time they will be doing the services. After service, wanashikana wawili wawili, they are going out. Remember, touch for young people is very sensitive. They touch. Where do they end it to? You can understand.
Femicide.
Yes.
And you've seen it last year. It was common with university students just found dead in apartments. We can laugh about it, and it's happening in our universities, even with the presence of the bodies that you speak. But I know there is strong Christian unions within some of our universities.
Yes.
And even Focus is working with young people in universities as well. So those forums are there. I think what is needed is the intentionality from family's point of view, where we stop talking on WhatsApp around dinner table. Just pick out issues, Rev.
Yes, this is very, very important. And the thing I want to add is that we must be conscious of having healing conversations. We already are understanding that we know God's ideal was one man and one woman coming together, because God's intention was that children are parented in a safe space. But we know that is not happening currently. So we need to embrace conversations on co-parenting. You can divorce a wife, you cannot divorce children. So once you've gone and you've been given the divorce papers, come back for a conversation on children. Don't wait until you are pursued. And co-parenting is not just sending fees or sending upkeep. Co-parenting is interacting with the children and with the young people, inviting them for dinner, hosting them, taking them for the weekend, letting them come to your home like these holidays. Let the children come over to the home of the other parents. So that means that as women, we will need to release the children. We will need to trust their fathers, regardless of the differences, and allow them to pick the children. You can pick and drop in safe locations. The church is a very safe location, so that one parent can bring the children, and then the other parent can pick, and then they can be returned there. The other conversation is we must also embrace blended families. We know very well that if a divorced man, especially if they are in their 30s, late 30s, 40s, 50s, are very eligible. If they are in your congregation, they will be objects of disrupting the service because they are single. Every woman will want to pray about them, to greet them. So regardless of what we feel about remarriage, we know these things will happen. So we need to also embrace that conversation of blended families and encourage that once you've entered a blended family, as pastors, we still need to shepherd you. We still need to walk with you. We still need to check how are the families merging, how are the children feeling about this. So the church that will embrace healing conversation is the church that is going to be appealing to the Gen Zs. The holiday programs that will accept to have these conversations, because sometimes we are having the VBS, we are having all the youth camps. We can remember as young people, it is in the youth camps that we received a second opinion about life, about ourselves. It's where we received our formation. So those are the conversations that should be going. The family healing agenda, family restoration agenda.
All right.
Thank you.
Who is part of this symposium? Are pastors also invited?
Yes, now.
Because I feel like you already have speakers here.
Yeah, they can be useful.
Yes.
Now, this symposium is bringing together the state and non-state actors. State actors, we are going to have the Cabinet Secretary for Gender, who is concerned about the families. We had a very powerful conversation during the women breakfast meeting in September, and that's where this issue of campus came out, because the dons were like, oh, what we are going through in our university is chaotic, and if we are not going to help this young generation, we are finished. We are going to have the PS for higher education. Why? She's the one to launch the campus family club within the universities. So ZTEC will open the doors for the rest of the universities across the country. Meaning that through the Ministry of Education, we can reach out to all universities in Kenya. When they are doing the orientation for the first years, at least Family Peace Association will be sending out representatives to each university to speak to them about family values. Then we are going to have the judge of High Court, Helen Namisi,
Yes.
who will be talking about some of the cases she receives on her desk related to families, divorce, resource distribution, and all that. Last time when we had the breakfast meeting, we had Judge Lady Justice Kendagor, who said, I wish you could have known what is affecting our families. Kitu kidogo tu. Then, I intentionally reached out to the Registrar General of Marriages. Why? When they give out the certificate, Njoroge is here, is down in the ZTEC University. Before you are awarded a degree, you have to take 4 years, isn't it? So that you are qualified to be whichever the profession. But now in marriage, you are given the certificate before you start the class.
I think it's a premarital class.
So when we are sharing with them, they said, I know this is something we need to work, but look outside there, how many people need that certificate? Thousands and thousands. So for us, we assume, that's what they were saying, the church, the mosque, and the community at large has prepared these people for marriage. They assume. But the fact is, nothing. Even the church, as Pastor Felix has said, you can call them for premarital counseling. We are busy. Oh, Pastor, I leave job late. Or I stay very far. Excuses, but they want to get married.
Okay.
Then we have now the VC, Vice Chancellor ZTEC, who will now give us the face of the university. What are they doing when it comes to raising up generations that will be embracing families?
Okay.
Yeah, so those are some of the partners and the church, and the church in Kenya. That's why Pastor Felix is coming in to speak about it. This church where we go every Sunday, every Saturday, what role are they playing to help this young generation?
Before they occupy.
Before they occupy.
Remember they wanted to occupy churches? Yes, as a closing remark, I'm being told you are running off, but I'll just take a round of closing.
Okay, let me just go quickly. But I want to go back to the question of the family. When we, in the family, when we become husband and wife, as we grow, as I said, from children to brothers and sisters to parents, to husband and wife, and then husband and wife, when we give birth to children, we become parents. So these levels of love are supposed to be learned in the family. When we understand and we learn them, then the parents become the role models for their children. How? If let's say the mother is so loving, and loving them further so much, you are already modeling for your sons. They are seeing their future spouse, wife, in their own mother. If the father is so loving their mother, the daughters are already seeing the kind of a husband they would want to have in the future. And therefore, when as a family we become this kind of a family, and many families in that society become like so, we are already expanding to become, a society of families of love. And when we expand to the nation, we become one family under that nation. And I may say, like, the president is supposed to be like a parent to all the people. Like a parent parenting all the 50 plus million Kenyans. In a school, the teachers are supposed to be parents on behalf of their own parents. Apart from teaching mathematics, you need also to teach values. And the highest and the greatest value is true love. Even in our constitution, we recognize the supremacy of God. This means we understand and we recognize the supremacy of God's will, which is embodied in the Genesis 1:28, the three great blessings. And therefore, these things would be solved if we brought in the family setup on every level. A CEO is supposed to be a parent, parenting the company. And everything else should be in that order. Okay. But the moment we abandon the family, everything becomes chaotic. Just one more about Gen Zs. When they make and when they become violent, you know what they are saying? They are sending a message. Why are you not loving us? That is what they are saying. You are not loving us enough as parents. If we loved them enough, they wouldn't want to go out and destroy property and destroy, kill people or harm people. They would be, they would want to love them because we are one family. That is actually the message they are sending out to us as parents and to all parental figures in the nation, that we are not loving them enough. So the back is on the parents.
On the parents.
Yeah.
Thank you. Peter, for closing remarks. At least Joshua is loved. So on the streets.
Thank you. My closing remarks would be, we are talking about peace and the family. We should not lose one truth, that marriage works, and in the midst of all the chaos we are seeing and lack of peace and all that, there are families that are structured, there are families that are straight, there are children that have been brought up well, there are wonderful parents, wonderful mothers, wonderful husbands, it all is not lost. And therefore, it is those that are working, it is the function of families that should spread the gospel of peace and functionality. So even in the midst of everything that we are doing, and that is why as ZTech University, we are bringing in that symposium. We will be there as parents ourselves to these children. And I always, even when I'm talking to them, I tell them, I've been married for 20 years now, and I love my wife. I tell them and they look at me and, it's like it's something funny. They wonder, you mean you've been with one woman for 20 years? They can't imagine. We need to spread that gospel. We need to keep on talking about the good things. These are our children. We have brought them in we have brought them up in these families. What have we shown them? We can also not victimize ourselves because we've used a lot of resources to bring them up. We've taken them to school. We've taught them about God. We've taught them values. Because the values that I was taught is the values that I'm teaching my children. So let us speak about the good things. Let us spread that gospel. Let it stick in them.
All right.
Because marriage works.
Marriage works. Thank you, and thank you, ZTech. I'll come to you as a closing. Let me just finish on this side first.
Yeah, for me, I feel that forgiveness is the key that we need today in the families. Forgiveness acknowledges that family dysfunctions are there, and some of them are not even our own responsibility. They are things that we just found the system. We inherited that we are products of dysfunctions. We also acknowledge that because of that environment, we also spoke. We added to the dysfunction by our own words, and that the children, the young people, are products of the conversations that were in our homes. We also acknowledge that we hurt them, we wounded them when we were having our own dramas, and the only way now we can go forward, in forgiveness. The Gen Zs forgive us that we didn't know any better. We didn't take responsibility. We thought we were doing our part when we were educating them, paying fees, taking them to very important schools, even taking them out of the country, sending them to boarding when they wanted to be home with us. So forgiveness is the way forward. We forgive, and we now start rebuilding the family. If we heal the family, we will heal the church.
Right.
We heal the church, we will heal the nation. Yeah,
good. Joshua?
Thank
Has
you.
this been fruitful?
Yes,
Awesome.
I'm happy and blessed to be part of this conversation.
Thank you.
And I'm happy and blessed too for having parents who have shown me what true love, discipline, honesty is in the family. Yes.
Asante. Pastor Bundi, you lead a team that wanted to occupy church for Christ or for the...
The wording of how you have phrased it is not the best. I was not leading a team.
Of course you are not.
Yes. I think my parting shot will be, Christ says, my peace I give to you, and I don't give it as the world gives. And also in one of the Beatitudes, that blessed are the peacemakers, they shall be called sons of God. So pursuit of peace is ingrained in Scripture. It's something we should all pursue, to live in harmony, not to avoid issues. Silence is not the answer. And to the statement you made at the beginning, peace is not really the absence of war. I think even in the midst of war, as Christ is in the midst of a storm, there's still stillness there because Christ is there. As my brother pointed out, as long as God is in the center, there will be peace. So to the young people maybe who are watching this, there might be lack of peace in your families, in the country. But if you are with God, He will steer the boat, and He will make everything okay. So just being related to Him and trusting Him will bring a lot of peace that surpasses all human understanding.
Wow. Thank you. Wakil, your closing remarks.
Thank you for giving me the chance to give my last thoughts. In conflicts, sometimes you find that one of the major problems is lack of communication. I think we really have to see a way of communicating. And especially when we are talking about the youth and their parents. And whatever happened last year about Gen Zs, I think the biggest cry there was lack of communication. That the young people feel we are not listening to them. I think as a society, we should stop and listen to what the young people are saying. I'm not saying that when we listen, we have to do everything that they do, but at least we open up channels of communication so that in the event that there are certain things which can be resolved, and some of them is just a question of attitude. Yeah, we should be able to do that. Okay. Even at the national level, as a society, we should be able to communicate with each other, and we'll find that many of the problems that we think cannot be solved, can be solved. And that has also been my experience when I've been dealing with mediation cases. Sometimes you bring the parties together, you talk to them, they are exchanging very bitter words, but when you talk to them separately, you have what you call a caucus. You find that what each of them is telling you boils down to lack of communication. So to me, communication is very vital, and we should encourage that at all levels of our society.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Asante sana. When is the symposium? You know, we have talked about it. People will be like, which ZTech, town campus, main campus, when, what time, 2 days, 1 day,
All right.
free, cost.
Now, the symposium is on 21st of November, 2025, next week, Friday, at ZTech University Mangu campus. Mangu campus, they have magnificent facilities and enough space to accommodate up to 5,000 students. So we invite students from across the board, although there are those who have said we are coming to attend. So entry is free because we have to help them. Ukimwambia atoe na hata pocket hakuna, then it's a challenge. So it will be next week.
Okay.
We'll start by having a panel of discussion whereby we'll be able to air out some of the issues affecting families, affecting young people. Then afternoon, we'll be having a festive whereby kutakuwa na ngoma, jana wanabambika. We are bringing together artists who have embraced families so that they talk to them. We are bringing young people who are really the model in the society so that they can help them. So we invite each and everyone. Parents are invited, the church is invited.
Plus the church can bring their youth as well.
Church can bring their youth as well, but you mark them. You mark them so that we know who is who. Because young people, having 2,000, 3,000 people in one gathering, it is tough. But by God's grace, I know that we are going to make it and it will be very okay. As I also finish, I would like to let the entire country and whoever watching us, that Family Peace Association, we are here to support and help the families by creating awareness, by uplifting their spiritual consciousness so that they can understand the good and the bad. They can understand what to do so that they can also grow inward. So we invite them, and any given time, maybe you need a talk, you need counseling, you need more education, feel free to visit our offices. Go to our website. You will find where we are. We are in Ui Plaza. Come talk to us. Maybe it's a church you want to have some sessions. We are free to come to meet young people. We are free to come to meet men fellowship, women fellowship, couples meeting. We are all free to come and talk because that's the mission that we have. Which mission? A world of peace through God-centered families.
Wow.
World. Starting from an individual, family, community, nation, then the world at large.
Amen. Thank you so much, James, for your time. Thank you for the good work that you are doing together with ZTech.
Yes.
An amazing opportunity. As family media as well, we are a family.
We invite you that day,
so
actually.
don't forget about us. But on a light note, and that's why we bring such kind of conversations.
Yes.
Every week, by the way, we have a program called Family Matters.
Yes.
We look at parental issues, finances issues, and relationships. Because every issue around families are majorly those three. People don't communicate about their finances, their past relationships, and even current. And sometimes also just issues of parenting and finances. So those are things that we do.
Actually, I have apology for my boss.
Yes.
Frederick Rangala. He was to be here, but you know the short notice.
No, but we will be there on Saturday, right? So we'll get to catch up. But thank you as well for your contribution, and thank you so much for the input that you brought into this conversation. One thing that has stood out for me, we have to get it right at the entry level of our families, which is the marriage point. And I think that is the challenge that we've gotten. That marriage is an act of will you have to do to both parties. Then you have a seedbed of peace at that particular level. And I think it's Pastor Bundu has mentioned about Matthew 5:9 about the peacemakers that will be called the children or the sons of God. So I want to thank you so much for your participation on this program. And to you who has been listening, maybe you've listened to this conversation and we've picked some of the issues that affects you as a family. And you are listening and wondering, these people really don't know what I'm going through. We have an advocate here, somebody who is professional, a negotiator. You can reach out to him. Just write a comment on our WhatsApp line 0786-316-316 and we'll connect you to get restoration. Maybe you are wondering, I left church because of all these things you guys are discussing. I talked to my pastor and my issue became the sermon and every person listened to it. And you're wondering, which other pastor can I speak to? We have an amazing team here. We have Pastor Felista from Parklands Baptist Church, and we have Pastor Bundi here, who is leading a young generation. He's a youth leader at Mamlaka Hill Chapel. So we have some good people that you can reach out to. And if you don't want to talk to a pastor, but just a brother or a sister, I think Brother James is here, and with his association, he can get someone to provide help to you. So as is to just help you know that help is around the corner. Never lose hope about your family. Until next time, have a good night's sleep. But next week on Crosstalk, we have another conversation. 16 days of activism is coming up, starting on the 25th to 10th of December. So we are going to be having guests who champion still peace and gender equality in studio. And we'll be looking at the issue of how do we unite as families to fight against gender-based violence. So don't miss that. Bye-bye for now.